Yeah, start
So
off.
good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I'm Meera Hegde, another Meera in AASHA, but I'm the student coordinator here. So our team handles enrollment of students. This time, each of you will go through the enrollment process yourself. You will be enrolling, you'll not only be teaching the student, but also enrolling the student allocated to you. So there are basically two steps in the enrollment process. First, you send the Google student registration form to the student. I don't want to waste any time, trying to share that, but it'll be sent to you. So when you get the number of your student, please make sure that you send the Google registration form on WhatsApp. The parent or student may need help to fill up this form. So kindly assist your student, ensure all mandatory columns are filled and the form is submitted before you go to the next step. So the first step is the Google registration form. And this comes on to our, to our listing. So the next step is the assessment form. So once again, we will share this form with you.
I've shared it on their WhatsApp,
okay.
Meera. I shared it on their WhatsApp. They can refer to that.
Yeah. So this form will be a WhatsApp to you. And before you start talking to the student, please ensure that you talk to the parent and get their permission. I need to explain in brief what AASHA is about. It's a one-to-one English learning class. And if the parent is okay with it, with some of the guidelines that you will be sharing with the parent, then you can ask the parent to put the child on to the phone. And all the details can be taken from the child. So the form is self-explanatory. Basically, you'll start with the date of assessment, name, date of birth, age of the child, standard, the school, father's name, employment, what work the father is doing, mother's name, if she's a housewife or she's working. And since most of these children will be coming from underprivileged backgrounds, so we will not ask them for their income. But if you feel that the father or the mother is working in a private company and they're not just a routine working as maids or farmers or coolies, then maybe you may need to ask the income of the parent.
Anyway, these are all known sources, Meera. They're all coming from one particular school, so we can maybe leave that vacant.
Yeah, actually, I have not even included in this form because, I'm sure they all, yes. Also, please check whether they have any siblings, brother, sister, and check their name and age. And also ask them if they would be interested in enrolling in the course. So here we encourage as many children as possible to, get into our program. We also need the address of the student, residential address, mobile number on which the sessions will be held. And also we need an alternate contact number, whether it's the father or, a brother or but we need another alternate number. Then you go to the class timing. Please ensure this timing suits your timing also. I think they will give a specific timing here, isn't it, Meera?
Yeah. So what will happen for this set of teachers, for these interns, they are available for us from 10 to 5. So now the student slot is the important thing. That's all. So there is no choice given to the teacher.
Okay. So it's fixed for the student and it's fixed for the
whatever the student says, that is what the teacher has to accept. That is within 10 to 5.
Okay. And these children are from Karnataka,
Another thing also, interns, they may want some other time other than 10 to 5 also. I would appreciate it if you can accept that, because you have to understand that they have to come back from school. Your internship working time is 10 to 5, wherein we expect you to be there for all meetings and stuff like that. But other than that, this teaching especially, it may happen before or after, because the student may attend the class before the going to school or after coming back from school. So I request you to make yourselves free other than your 10 to 5 also, for the student's sake. Otherwise, you won't find a student only. That also may happen. Yeah.
So the next question. Yeah, you have any questions?
No, we'll
So
take
shall I?
questions in the end, Meera. We'll take questions in the
Okay.
end.
Okay.
And
Uh,
there are so many students. If you have any questions, you can keep typing. We have coordinators in the group who will answer your queries. We can go. That's it, Meera, from your side. So
no, then
another thing from myself. From my side, what I wanted to say was, you may have to talk to them in regional languages. Okay, see, these people are not.
yes, I was coming to that actually.
Yes.
Yes.
So they are all of them from Karnataka. So you may need to know Kannada. So which I'm sure many of you don't know. So have a dictionary, something in hand, or try to talk in Hindi, and then maybe say they can understand a little bit of Hindi, and take support from each other in your group. If you are really struggling and you're not able to communicate at all, reach out to us, and any of the coordinators will help you. What I will do is I will give you one coordinator from the school itself, to whom you can get in touch with for any queries regarding the student. Okay. So yeah, Meera, anything else you want to say?
Yes, what I wanted to know is which class are these students coming from? Any specific class?
No, I think they are seventh graders or eighth graders. I'm not too sure. We are getting
No, they said they are going to.
today.
No. So one thing here, I would like to interrupt. So what they had said was, from the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, they're going to choose the children and then they give us the numbers.
Yeah, because they should also have mobiles and all those things. But that should not matter to us, isn't it, Meera? Which level class they are?
What I wanted to know is English their second language or their third language? Do they have any exposure, this batch of students?
I'm not too sure actually.
Okay, because if they're very,
and I don't even know if it's an English medium school also. I'll get all that information.
Okay. Because if the interns they don't know Kannada, then it might be a bit challenging to explain the lesson. But I am sure they may have some basic knowledge of English.
No,
probably the
older children itself, it won't be so bad. Let me check on that, but either way, I'll check on that.
So the first part is all the just the details of the child, and then we come to the second part. So this is assessing the student to place him at a level, from where you will start his lessons from. So we have, various levels in our, resources. Level 1 is the basic level. And I think most of these children would be, at least level 1 or upwards. Before level 1 is 0 level, which is basically phonics. I have a feeling that most of these children would be, at least level 1 onwards. Don't you think so, Meera?
Yeah.
Okay. So during the course of your conversation, you can gauge whether the student is able to comprehend, which level he is in. And so accordingly, you send the lesson from that level. These levels also will be shared with you. Level 1, the placement test that we have for level 1, the placement test that we have for level 2, and it goes on to level 5. So this also will be shared to you. So you may need to go from a higher level to a lower level or vice versa. We will share the placement test for each level. And, you will sort of randomly, maybe, from your dialogue, you'll be able to sort of figure out which level this child is, whether he's, when you start talking to him in English, is he able to understand at all? If he doesn't understand, then maybe, you might need to start him from level 1. But if he says English is his second language or third language, then maybe you could start him at a higher level. So this is something that you will figure it out as you, test him. So so in each lesson plan, first there is a lesson, then we have 2 sets of exercises. So you make the child, you would be sending this lesson to the child on WhatsApp. Okay. So fix a time when you will do this test, and invariably we do it simultaneously. You fill up the form, and at the same time you say, please hold on, I'm going to send you a lesson now, and you WhatsApp him the lesson. Sometimes the data is not good enough to be on the call and receive the WhatsApp data. So maybe at that point of time, you might have to disconnect the call, send him the lesson, wait for a few minutes, make sure that he has seen the lesson, and then you call him up again. So don't keep any gaps, because it's difficult to get these children, and then suddenly you've just done one part of the assessment and not the other. So make sure you try and fit in the whole assessment in one go. That is after the Google form that you have submitted. So then, you ask him to read the lesson. So from his reading, you will be able to test his fluency, his diction, their clarity, pronunciation, what is the confidence level. So accordingly, you make that notation against reading. There will, in that column reading, you can mention good, fair, needs to improve. After that, there are two sets of exercises. The first set of exercises states, what does the story say? So the student has to choose the right word from the bracket. So they get marks for this. You mark them, 5 out of 5 or 2 out of 5, according to how they do it. Then the second part of the exercise is learn words. They have to fill in the blanks with a word that makes sense. So that is also given on top. And from this, actually, you will be able to gauge, the next parameter, that is comprehension. So whether the student was able to comprehend, did the student understand the lesson? Did he have difficulty with any of the meanings? So maybe you can, at random pick out a few words and ask him, do you know the meaning of this? And you can make a notation against comprehension accordingly. So also, if if you find that he does it all too easily, the reading was fluent, the exercises were was child's play, then maybe the child needs to go at a higher level. So this is something you may need to go back and forth. At the first go itself, you may not be able to figure out which level to place it now, and which level to place, and which level you will start the sending the resource lessons to start your sessions. Having said this, avoid placing at a level which will be too challenging. You have to keep the child's confidence in mind. It should be also not something so difficult that the student loses, interest. And also, when you start on the sessions, you can decide what speed. If he's finding it too easy, maybe you can move faster. And now coming back to the assessment form, there's also a remarks column. So here you can make some general observation you have made of the child, whether the student is showing interest, whether they're shy or withdrawn, does not open up, or it's bright and, very motivated. So accordingly, you may want to add some remarks about the student you have assessed. And then you go to this thing, you please write your names also, assessed by. Each of your names should be written against who has assessed the student. So the name of the student will be right on top, and at the bottom will be your student. So next request, this level that the student has selected to do the reading. If you feel that is the level which the student qualifies to start, ask the student to send an audio recording of the lesson he read, not a video lesson, please. So you close the call, also sharing a few guidelines about how the classes will be. I think this will also be shared to you by the orientation team. But basically, you need to tell them to stick to, the commitment to the timing, so that, you are not left hanging. And the same applies to you. If you have made a commitment for, a particular time for the child, please ensure that you also call the child at that specific time. And from both sides, your mobiles should be charged, and the data, particularly make sure that the student has data, the student has WhatsApp, because you will be sending all these lessons on WhatsApp. And if for any reason the student is not going to be, is not able to attend a class, please ask him or her to message you and, tell you that he's not able to take the class. So the same goes for all of these guidelines, works both sides. So also please tell the student you will be sending him some homework, and all the lessons need to be written in a notebook. So what you will do is, when the lessons start, first of course will be, you will send the lesson on WhatsApp, and the student is expected to write it in a notebook. He should have a notebook specifically for this, have a pen or a pencil kept ready, the phone charged, and he should be near the phone, not playing outside, when the class has been scheduled. So before concluding, please ask if the student has any questions, and if the parent is also, is aware of all of this. If you need to explain all of this to the parent also, if the parent is, you find he's just about 8 or 10, and, you feel he's being a little not very attentive, that maybe you might need to talk to the parent also, and, be sure that they have understood all the guidelines, so the lessons go on smoothly. So now you have, the assessment has been 3 things actually. One is the Google form. Make note of that. That has to be submitted first before you go to the assessment. Then you call up the child, fix up a time, and do the assessment. Assessment is, first part will be the details of the child, the date of birth and all those things I mentioned. The second part would be the assessment to place the child at a specific level. And then the third part is the audio. Once you get this assessment form filled up and you have the audio, please WhatsApp both of them to me, because we have to upload this into our student sheet. So this is very important. When you complete the assessment, the Google form will automatically come into our system. But this other part, that is the assessment and the audio, it's very, very important. I will share my number with you. Please send it to me. And one more thing, Meera, the students, all of them will be starting the sessions shortly?
Yes. We're expecting, once the number comes in today, tomorrow itself, they can go ahead and reach out to the students. We're just waiting for the school, that's all. Okay.
Because from the, I will not be in station from the 19th. So after that, Manasa will take care of it. In case the assessments or when any of these assessments and audios are not complete, their WhatsApp will not reach me, then I'll also share Manasa's number.
Yeah.
Manasa will.
There's still time for all those things. By the time you leave, we would have taken care of this. So anything else, Meera? Once you
that is all from my side, unless they have any questions.
No, we'll go back to questions a little later. We have Hema here, who will orient them with how to go about teaching. We will do the reporting mechanisms in the next session, because it may be too much for the interns to take. Now they have understood how they have to register the student, then they have to assess the student. Let them also understand how they can teach the student. Our academic team, Hema, will help us with that. Once they understand that, anyway, this recording is available for all of you to go back to it, because you may have several queries and you may have forgotten the whole thing, whatever we were explaining and stuff like that. So that is why we are recording this. Hema, can you please take over, please?
Yeah. Hello, hi. So thank you, Meera. I think Meera has given you a real good understanding of how the whole process goes through, how we will go through the assessment of different levels, and how you will place the children in different levels and go ahead with your teaching. Now, having crossed that hurdle, now comes the main part of where you have to actually deliver the lesson. You have to give the lesson to the children, and you have to teach them, and you have to be there for them to help them to read. So the first thing that first and foremost that you have to keep in your mind is that your objective of why you're doing this. The whole objective of this whole exercise is that you are going to teach them to read. Okay, that reading is the most important part. So that has to be the main focus. And before you go through that, it is better to understand the student profile a little bit, build up a rapport with the child, so that there is a good understanding between you and the candidate whom you are teaching. Of course, here it is going to be, you're not going to see the child, and you're not going to see the person whom you're teaching. So it is better to build up a conversation and get a good footing over there, and go ahead with that. So first of all, before you go even start thinking of the lesson, first thing, go through the content first clearly. Look at the words. And like Meera rightly pointed out, that some of the words have to be spoken to them in a regional language, because they may not understand what you are saying. So you have to be very clear. If you have words which are a little difficult and you will find it difficult to explain, please go through the words and see that you have a Hindi translation to it, or a Kannada translation to it, and see that you will be able to explain that in a better manner. And so this is something. And also help them to break the words and read. See, if the student is having the book, the written thing in front of him, they will know the spellings over there. So you can help them to break and read the words. Be very patient. So it will take time. It's going to take time, especially because it's on call. And initially help them to read, and slowly wean away from helping them. And also remember that you are facilitating them to read, so that they are going to they have to read independently. By the end of at least complete 2-3 lessons, they should be able to read a lot of the stuff independently. So keep their level in mind when you're teaching them. Remember that what level are you teaching. So that will help you to keep your vocabulary also in in hold, because you cannot use big words while you're speaking to the child. Keep your language very simple, as simple as possible, while you're teaching the lesson or going through the lessons. Go through all the guidelines that has been given to you. So how that will help you a lot with how you can deliver your lesson. And I think what Meera ma'am told you about the assessment format also, that is also going to help you through your lessons when you are teaching them, because you have to concentrate on diction, clarity, pronunciation, and fluency of their reading. So be very clear when they are when they're reading. Help them with their diction, help them with their pronunciation, because pronunciation is going to be a big issue over here. Then you also look at if they're reading it clearly. So help them with that clarity, and let them read slowly, and see that they are able to go through each word and are able to pronounce each word completely. So and also check your there'll be a bank of resources will be available to them, right, Meera? Meera?
Yes.
Yeah, the resource. Yeah. So please, there will be a bank of resources from which you can go and check what will suit your lesson and what can help you to make the lesson more interesting. So look at those resources, go through those resources, and pick and choose which will match your lesson, so that you can use it in your class. For all this, for doing all this, you have to be well prepared before you start the class. So before one day before your class, you have to be ready with your lesson, with all your resources in place, and your format of your lesson, how are you going to go through your lesson, has to be very clear in your mind before you enter your session. So that is very important, because at that time you have to keep your resources ready. Maybe you may have to send certain things for them beforehand or just before the class starts. So all these things you have to keep it ready and keep everything planned, so that you don't waste your time nor the child's time, and you use that time which is available to you to effectively teach the child how to read. So there are actually Google Translate will help you with translations, so you can take that help and prep beforehand. Keep your words ready beforehand. Keep a copy of the lesson with you so that you have your notes written on the lesson, so that you can help the child through whenever the child gets stuck. So these are the most important things that you have to keep in mind. And like Meera had already said, that you while you're teaching, you may realize that the child is you may have put him at a higher level, or you may have put him at a lower level. Initially, maybe the first few lessons the child might not respond properly, so you may have thought of a lower level. But then once the student gets a little bit of confidence, they may start picking up faster. So please take the guidance of your support team from AASHA to guide you if you have to push the child to a higher level, or you have to retain the child at the same level. So these are things that you really need to think about. And basically, how do you look at the lesson? What are the main things that are there in the lesson that you need to teach? And like I told you, these are the most important things. Comprehension is a big factor here. Diction is, of course, important. Clarity is important. Pronunciation is important. And fluency will come once these are in place. And most of all, is the child understanding what the child is reading? That is something very, very important. Though there are questions later on to test, but before you go to the questions, while you're interacting, it is better to keep that in mind, whether the child is understanding what they are reading. So please give explanations, please give examples which will help them to relate to what they are reading, and what they how they can understand it with some things that they have experienced or you have experienced. You can go into those kind of things to get them to understand what is written in this language. So these are the basic things that you need to think of while you are building up your lessons. So
I'll add a couple of
and
things to this.
yeah,
So in a typical lesson plan, you have a text and you have two activities. So you have a title
correct.
for the lesson. So can you just run over, Hema, with how a typical class may happen? Where do they start and how do they go about? Just very briefly.
Yeah, so they first start with, I think you send the lesson and they write down the lesson, and then you start with reading the lesson. And Meera Hegde, I think you can also correct me if I'm wrong anywhere. So first you go through the lessons and help them with the reading part of it, and go over the words, difficult words, check if they are able to read all the difficult words and I have understood the difficult words. And then you go into the set of exercises. So the first of the set of exercises is like, what does the story say? So that itself will tell you whether the student has really understood the lesson that has been, the child has read. And then you have going to the vocabulary. What are the words that have been read through, and have they understood those words, and are they able to use those words? So there are sometimes you have to ask them to make sentences with those words, and create, so that if are they able to use a word in a different context. So that also is important for them to understand, because in that particular context they have understood. Are they understanding how to use that word in a regular this? Because our whole purpose is we are helping them to read so that they are able to do better in their schools, they are able to do better in the outside world, and they are able to understand and comprehend and apply these words and apply this reading knowledge in the real world. So that is the whole concept, the whole idea behind the whole thing. So you have to be very sure whether they are able to comprehend and apply and use the words properly. So these two exercises always helps you with that. And you can also ask them a lot of questions. Like I think Meera has already mentioned that how you can take up some random words and then, see whether they are able to use it, and are they able to understand the context where it has come and use it in a different context.
Yeah.
So these are things that as you speak,
So,
you have to build it up. Yeah.
Yeah. So initially, let the focus be on reading. First, is the student able to read? So slowly help them with reading, make sure that they're able to read each word properly, and they're able to string the words and read it like a sentence. So let the focus be totally on reading. So then once you have established that, then you can go on to comprehension, word meaning, and the lesson understanding and all that. And like how Meera was also saying, make sure the child is very comfortable. Don't overwhelm the child. Don't start off with grammar activities and all those things. The first objective is for the child to start reading. Focus only on reading. Make sure that they're able to string the sentence words and read it like a sentence. So that is the first focus. So after that, you can go on to comprehension. And I don't know if any of you have taught before. So how do you teach a typical lesson? Is start off, for example, the story is about a train or something like that. Then ask them general few questions about, have you gone in a train before? Have you seen a train? Have you traveled in a train? And then some small things about a train or train journey. And then afterwards, start with the text there. And even as you're reading out, helping them to read the text also, try to explain in simple words what it means, and try to connect it to the student, what that text is all about. So the first thing is focus on the reading. So if they are in level 4, level 5 and all, you can focus more on comprehension. But ultimately, for everybody, for every level, the first for this one component that you have to look at is that the child is able to read clearly, and then whether they are able to understand the comprehension is the next thing. The lessons will be shared with you. We will provide contact details of the school coordinator for any issues, that is, if you're not able to reach out to the student, or if the student is not able to understand what you're speaking. And then Meera Hegde's number will be given, wherein you can share the assessment details with them. And then if in case you need another orientation as to how to do one lesson, typical lesson, how do you teach one lesson, maybe we can have another orientation from either by Hema or Deepika. So because you have not seen the lesson and you're all in a vacuum right now, this may be too much of information for you at one shot. We are there to guide you, and it's an amazing and gratifying journey teaching someone. And you will enjoy doing it, especially as the child picks up and learns. It will be amazing to see that. And don't be disheartened if the child is not regular, or if the child is not paying attention, or if the child is not learning well. Don't be disheartened. You have to slowly build the confidence of the child, slowly make the child comfortable, and make the child understand, because you have to understand what is the background that they are coming from. They have their own issues, they have a lot of problems. So be patient with them. And I think that's it. We have covered all the points. There's only 5 minutes left here in the meeting. If you have any queries, you can ask us, you can text here. Otherwise, anyway, we are available on the WhatsApp. You can post your queries. I think that's it. No, Hema and Meera, anything else to be added?
Yeah, I think, that's it. I think that is covering most of it. So if they have any questions, they can ask now. No?
Yeah, so it's just four
The
minutes.
last 5 minutes,
Yeah. That's so they have to start off with the registration first, and then afterwards they'll do the assessment. After the assessment is over, they'll start teaching. Before they start teaching, these two hurdles, once they cross that, if they still don't know how to go about, we can have another orientation. Then afterwards, they need to understand how to start reporting. So our expectation is that you should have started teaching by 3rd of June, hopefully. So another 2 days to go. That is, if we give you the contact number of the student immediately by the end of today, if you get the contact numbers, then you can start off. But max, you should have started by 5th is what we will keep it that way, hopefully. So I think that's it. I don't see any questions coming up here. So we'll end this meeting, and we are available for you for any other queries later in this.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.